Hi everyone, my name is Deepak, and today let's understand how can we set up the generative AI tool CodeWhisperer on the PyCharm IDE. Okay, so for those who are new to CodeWhisperer is a generative AI tool which can be used for writing some prompts, and it is going to return you with some code recommendations, and which is certainly going to help you out with reducing your development timeline. Okay, so now let's quickly understand how can we do that. We will have to first install or set up AWS Toolkit. So for that, you can go to your PyCharm and then you can have a look at, you will basically have to go to the settings, and in settings, you have to go to the plugins, and in the plugins, you may have to look for AWS Toolkit. Okay, so you get the toolkit over here. You just have to install it. Okay, so now we have to restart our IDE to make use of the CodeWhisperer and Amazon Q. Okay, so now if you notice, it says that Q has moved into its plugin. Plugin will now be auto upgraded. Okay, so you can close these. If you notice on the left-hand side, we have the AWS Toolkit, which has got installed on our IDE. Click on this one, and you should be able to get few more details. So if you go over here, you will find the Code Catalyst and Amazon Q. Install the Amazon Q plugin. Let's click on this, and let's set up the Amazon Q plugin. Let's restart it again. Let's continue with free account usage. Okay, so you'll be automatically redirected to this particular page wherein you have to provide your email ID with which you have created your AWS account, right? And so that it can make use of it for creating a AWS builder ID. Okay, so that you can communicate with the CodeWhisperer and make use of CodeWhisperer and the Amazon Q. Okay, so let me quickly enter. Let me quickly enter my email ID so that I can connect to the AWS Code Builder. Let me provide my name. Okay, so now you are going to get a notification over your email with the verification code, which you have to probably use for validating over here. So now you can go to your email, to your Gmail, and you can copy this particular verification code. You can make use of it over here. Yeah, you can make use of it over here in the verification code and just provide verify. Okay, so now your account has been verified, and you just have to provide a password for signing into the AWS Builder ID. Okay. and you should be able to create the builder ID. Okay, so now let's have a look at the PyCharm to see if we are able to access the CodeWhisperer details. I think it is. Let's check the status of the Amazon queue. So basically, what I did is I tried reconnecting to the AWS Builder ID. So now, if you notice, I use the same user credentials for accessing the AWS Builder ID. Now you have to provide allow access. So request has been approved, and your AWS IDE can now access the AWS IDE plugin can now access your data in the PyCharm. Okay, so now let's have a look at our PyCharm code. So if you notice over here, you get the Amazon queue, which is something similar to like how ChatGPT works. Like you can write in your piece of code, or you can write in your piece of instructions, and based on that, it is going to return you some results or some boilerplate code. Okay, so let's say, for example, I would ask it to write Python code to list S3 objects. Okay, let's see what does it return. Okay, so now if you notice over here, you can certainly get a set of boilerplate code, or say a sample code for you to refer and get started with writing your piece of code, right? So you can just mention, say, for example, I want to add it over here. Okay, I can insert at cursor. It is going to insert that piece of code. You certainly have to uh, format the code after inserting. Okay. And also, if you notice, you can go through the description, which it says, which it has mentioned over here, that how this particular code will work. It has provided some description around each of these lines. Okay, you can go through this to understand what this code does, and probably you should be good to make use of this code in your application. Okay, so now this is more about the Amazon Q chat, which works similarly like any other generative AI tools like ChatGPT or Gemini, right? So now what you can do is you can certainly give it a try for writing the same set of code. Let me remove this piece of code. You can also write that same set of code using CodeWhisperer. So let's understand how do we set up CodeWhisperer. I mean, the CodeWhisperer has already been set up along with the Amazon queue through the AWS Toolkit. But let's understand how can we write a piece of code, the same set of code instructions through CodeWhisperer by just providing some prompts as comment. Okay. So let me provide that set of instructions. If you can notice, the moment I provided the comments, started writing the comment, it has started suggesting or auto-suggesting some piece of code, right? So that's happening only because of the CodeWhisperer, which is able to prompt or which is able to provide us some recommendations for writing that particular code. Okay, so let's write that set of instructions. Okay, so now the moment I have written this particular line of instructions, let me enter to the next line to see if it is able to provide me some recommendations around the same instructions, right? So now you can certainly insert this piece of code and continue with the next line. You just have to enter to go to the next line so that it can keep on suggesting you for the code recommendation. Okay. So you can just accept and continue. You can continue with accepting it and continue it. Okay. So I think so now it is able to make use of this to list or it is able to list the objects from S3. So let's say, for example, I'm not happy with this particular piece of code and I want it to provide me some recommendation specific to some particular function. Let's say, for example, I want to uh, provide some more instructions like write a Python code to list files from S3 bucket using list object objects v2 method. So here also you can notice that it is providing recommendations for writing that prompt itself, right? So I'll continue with that. I'll accept that recommendation and I'll continue with the recommendation. Okay. So let's say I want to write a Python code to list files from S3 bucket using list object v2 method and print the object data to the console. Okay, so now let's see how does it work? What recommendations does it provide to us? Okay, so if you notice over here, we also have an option called as next. If you're not happy with this particular recommendation, you can check what are the other recommendations which CodeWhisperer is providing. You can see that there are two recommendations for the next line. So you can click on next to see what is the other option which it has been providing. Okay, so it's more or less the same, just some syntax differences. You can accept this and continue next. You can accept this if you find this relevant. Okay, so what it does is it is trying to list objects from a particular S3 bucket. And from that, it is trying to get the list of objects which are there as part of that particular bucket from the contents list. And then from that, it is trying to uh, print those object or the file names over here. Okay. So now, say for example, it prints the size of it. It is providing some other information. You can keep on printing these values to see what other recommendations it is providing for that particular object. Right. So, okay, so that's how it works. Now, say for example, I would mention over here that let me write some other prompt stating that print the data content of the object. Let's see what does it do to provide us with the results. Okay, so it is trying to uh, get the object now. Let's continue with this. Let's accept and continue with this. Okay, so now it is able to read that content. Let's ignore this particular piece of recommendation. Okay, so now what did it do? We are getting the object key from S3. Now what is it is doing is it is making use of get object function, and it is passing that particular bucket name over here and the object key, which it has fetched over here or over here. And then it is trying to print the body of that particular message response which it got from that particular file, right? So now it is accessing the body of that particular message, and then it is reading the content of that particular file. Okay, so this is a very quick example of how you can set up your PyCharm ID with Amazon Q and Amazon CodeWhisperer. And it was a very quick example on how you can provide some prompts over your IDE to get some recommendations in AWS CodeWhisperer, and also to get recommendations or results by providing it over the chat box on Amazon Q, right? It seems to be quite interesting, right? I mean, you do not certainly have to change windows or go from your IDE uh, to the browser to search for any reference of any code while you are developing, right? So I hope this information was quite useful for you to set up both CodeWhisperer and Amazon Q, and also to try out some easy examples, right? So thank you guys. Thanks for watching my video. If you like this video, please do subscribe and like this particular video. Thank you.